Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. In this video, we are talking you about our journey of developing 3 different versions of Tic Tac Toe game with 5 group members. Each version of game has comparatively different features. Version 1 is a simple browser-based two-player game, and second version has multiplayer feature with 5 rounds. Third version have user authentication system with win points to make the game more engaging and rewarding. This wasn't just about writing code. It was about how we worked as a team using agile principles to stay organized, efficient, and collaborative throughout the process. For version control and collaboration, we used Git as our repository system and experimented with GitHub Copilot to boost our development speed with AI powered suggestions. For version control and collaboration, we use Git as our repository system and experimented with GitHub Copilot to boost our development speed with AI-powered suggestions. Let's dive in. Asini will explain project planning.
Hi everyone, so my name is Asini and I'll be walking you all through how we planned and managed our development process using Agile and the Scrum methodology. So we began by organizing our work into sprints. Since our project had a tight timeline, we used a fast-paced Agile approach with 5-day sprints. Rather than the typical 1 or 2 weeks. So for example, in sprint 1, our focus was setting up the basic feature implementation along with planning and the requirement gathering. While in sprint 2 involved, we focused on integrating gameplay logic for version 1 and 2 and also the testing part. And finally, in sprint 3, we mainly focused on version 3 implementation and the testing. So to manage this, we created an agile Scrum board using Jira, and we follow the structured workflow using lanes such as to do, in dev, in test, ready for review, ready for sign off, and finally done. So this really helped to visualize progress of each task at every stage of the sprint. And also each team member was assigned use stories during the sprint planning sessions, and that was refined during the backlog grooming. So this each task in the Jira board included priority, estimated story points, and acceptance criteria. And also we used labels and subtasks to break work down and track progress easily. And finally, when it comes to the meetings, at the start of each sprint, we held sprint planning meetings where we discussed our upcoming tasks, estimated efforts, and responsibilities. And also we held short daily stand-ups to ensure everyone was on track and to check the blockers and all. And at the end of each sprint, we had the sprint review meeting and also the retro to reflect on what went well and also demonstrate what we built and get feedback from the team. So this structured approach actually helped us stay aligned and complete all the 3 versions of our prototype on time. So next, Nandana will explain the backend and the design phase. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Nandana and I'll be guiding you through the server-side development process for our project. This system is built using client-server architecture. The client is a web application which communicates with our backend through a set of RESTful APIs. The backend development was structured into 3 stages: version 1, 2, and 3. We use GitHub for the source control, and there is a dedicated repository for the backend. The team members committed their changes to the corresponding repository branches at each stage of the development. For that, they use GitHub desktop or terminal-based GitHub client. For developing our backend APIs, we use Node.js with Express.js framework. Each route was organized using controller modules which help keep the code organized and clean and maintainable. For the persistent, we use SQLite as our lightweight relational database. For the testing, we use Postman client, and this is the Postman collection that we used throughout our development process. As an example, if I call a API, you can see that it gives a quick response. Throughout this backend development process, we use Microsoft Teams for meetings and Jira for task management and tracking progress. And this is the Saga documentation for the APIs that we have developed. That's a quick overview of how we collaborated and successfully delivered the backend service using Agile development methodology. Next, Buddhika will walk you through the UI design and front-end development process, and he will explain how the web interface was built to connect seamlessly with our backend system. Thank you.
Hi, I am Buddhika, and I was responsible for designing and implementing the front end of our Tic Tac Toe application. From the start, I aimed to build an interface that was clean, responsive, and enjoyable to use to both desktop and mobile. I used ReactJS to structure the UI components and manage the state efficiently. From an Agile perspective, we broke UI into stories, and I implemented these stories incrementally and reviewed them in sprint demos. Let's go to the demo of our Tic Tac Toe game application. User can register through unique email. When he logged in, he can start a game or join a game. He can see the leaderboard of the game. When user joins the game, he and opponent can play 5 rounds of Tic Tac Toe game. A player who wins 3 out of 5 rounds win the game. Players winning scores adding to the leaderboard. In version 1, we launched the basic 2-player Tic Tac Toe game playable on the same browser. In version 2, we introduced multiplayer feature, allowed players to start and join the game rooms. Each session includes 5 rounds. In version 3, I implemented authentication system, where players must register with a unique email and log in. The UI dynamics displays player stats, and the leaderboard shows the top winning scores. We go through the React frontend code. In this React project, I create all components in component folder and game context in context folder. In this API tx6 file, I create all main functions like start game, join game, game finish, like that. And go to the main status like waiting, login, lobby, and start, finish. User navigate to the different pages like game board, game lobby, login, register, waiting room, like that. And this is the login page where user can log into his account.
Asini will explain about testing part.
I create all API calls in this API tx file. Through these 3 functions, I called all API calls to the backend.
Hi everyone. So next I'll explain how testing was carried out in our project. So in our project, testing was conducted in parallel with the development, following Agile best practices. So for example, in sprint 1, our main focus was on setting up the basic features and gathering requirements. So during this phase, we also created our initial test plan and began drafting test cases alongside the development. So this is that test plan that we have drafted. This has all the test cases that we are going to test along with the stories related to it for each version. So in sprint 2, also we implemented a core gameplay logic for both version 1 and version 2 of the game. As features were integrated, we continuously tested them, focusing on user interactions, game rules, and conditions like win or draw to make sure that everything functioned as expected. And finally, in version 3, we developed features like player registration, login, and the leaderboard. So during this sprint, we performed both functional testing for the new components and also regression testing was done to make sure that earlier features still worked seamlessly. So this approach actually allowed us to catch bugs early and maintain quality across all three versions of the game. Thank you.
As part of our agile development approach, we use Git and Jenkins to support continuous integration, collaboration, and rapid delivery. Following agile principles, we adopted a feature branch strategy in Git, where each user story or task was developed in its own branch. Pull requests were used for peer reviews, ensure code quality, and teamwork. GitHub Action ran automated tests and linked in during each pull request, aligned with test-driven development practice. Jenkins managed our CI/CD pipeline, automatically building, testing, and developing the application after each merge to the main branch. This supported our sprint goal by delivering working feature quickly and reliably. Continuous tests with Postman, along with monitoring a script in Jenkins, help maintain stability across versions. These tools and practice allow us to stay in sync with agile value, frequent delivery, constant feedback, and continuous improvement throughout all sprint.